Well, next tonight, the government's Transport Secretary today promised that the controversial high-speed rail line to London would revitalise engineering here in the North West. Patrick McLaughlin arrived in Manchester to start the official consultation process. It's claimed HS2 would create 44,000 new jobs in the region.
But with the bill expected to be £42 billion, 10 billion more than originally expected, will the costs outweigh the benefits? Here's Stuart Flinders.
Tickets to the future, sir?
They were handing out tickets to the future today to promote the high-speed rail plan. Not all passengers at Manchester Airport's rail station looked keen on taking the trip, a bit like HS2 itself. Local businesses are on board.
It will create jobs and it will actually allow the cities of the UK to be better connected, to allow the economy to grow.
And if we don't get high-speed trains?
If you think about things like freight, which rely heavily obviously on the West Coast main line, those projections, the demand is set to double, and that will mean real difficulty from even moving goods from A to B.
But are the campaigners fighting a losing battle?
The National Audit Office has questioned the business case for HS2, and only last month a think tank called the New Economics Foundation suggested that demand for HS2 had been overestimated. So is the evidence against the project beginning to stack up?
The Transport Secretary met engineering students at Manchester Metropolitan University today to underscore the message HS2 means skilled jobs. But does it mean they'll come here?
Isn't the danger that more and more towns further north will simply become commuter towns for London and the business will stay there?
No, I very much hope not.
I hope not?
Well, I hope not, because the city leaders of the cities in the north are saying that this is an important piece of infrastructure.
What's your gut feeling about whether this thing will ever happen?
Oh, I believe it will happen. I believe it is.
How confident are you? 90%, 100%?
I'm very confident.
There's a long way to go before these passengers will be able to cut an hour off their trip to London. HS2's not due in Manchester for another 20 years. Stuart Flinders, BBC North West Tonight, Manchester Airport.
Well, the supporters of HS2 claim that 400,000 jobs will be created nationally in the long term and that the economic benefits will be double the cost of the project. Those are points which I put earlier to the rail expert, Christian Wolmar.
Well, all those are quite challengeable. I mean, the idea that it'll create 400,000 jobs is just an invention of some research report of a couple of years ago and has no real basis in fact. Look, it's going to cost £50 billion, so you have to examine what could we spend £50 billion on that would actually benefit the economy more. And there's all sorts of projects you could think of that would have a better what's called benefit cost ratio than this one.
But they are spending money on transport still with the existing infrastructure, the West Coast Main Line in Lancashire this week, the Manchester hub which is being done, the electrification of the Liverpool to Manchester line. So there is work being done.
No, that's great news about the Manchester Northern Hub. That's exactly the sort of project that money should be spent on. The trouble is, if they spend 50 billion over the next 10 to 12 years on HS2, there'll be very little money available for precisely that sort of project. And the Northern Hub requires a lot more work to improve services in the northwest, and those sort of things won't happen because of the vast cost of this crazy enterprise.
So HS2 in your view is a waste of money, and that money would be better spent on a broad basket of transport projects?
Well, you know, it's largely a waste of money. Of course, at the end of the day, we'll have a shiny new rail line, but it won't be value for money.
Do you think it will actually be built?
Well, I would say it's got about a 40% chance of being built. I think, you know, once this starts to go through Parliament, which is supposed to be at the end of this year, it will be very heavily scrutinised, and I somewhat suspect that the growing cost of it puts the project in jeopardy.
Christian Wolmar, thank you.